What is up, you guys? JB Cars back. Today, you guys, I'm here with the M550. As you guys can see, we have it floating in the air on jack stands at the moment. As in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the transmission service on this vehicle. This has been a very long overdue maintenance item I've had to get done on this car, as I have waited so long, kept procrastinating, but I'm finally going to get it done. And I figured also, why not as well, because I already had to take apart, as you see, the belly pan, as I was working on this axle seal right here the other day. I think I gotta bunk the axle in a little bit more as it's not fully seated in, but I figured why not get the transmission fluid done since I already have the car in the air. Doing the diff fluid service as well, as I have the red line fluid here that I put in the other day. So once again, we're kind of just doing some more maintenance here in today's video, but once I do this transmission fluid, this car will be all done for all of its serviceable fluids, which is very, very good, because I don't want to keep driving around with this old fluid in it, especially since the car is almost to 137,000 miles. So we want to go ahead and get some new transmission fluid in there so we can get our transmission running a little bit smoother, as well as just that preventative maintenance thing as well. But since I already, like I said, was working on the front diff, I decided to already take off the transmission belly pan. So if we hop underneath the car here, I now have the transmission itself, the underbelly pan, this pan right here, which you're going to have to be undoing and taking off. I've already taken it off since I was working up there, so I figured why not. So yeah, you're gonna take off this pan right here. It is held in with just 6 8mm bolts, and then there's 2 on the metal belly pan itself. And now we are going to get into how you do the transmission fluid service. So guys, we also get new hardware as well. We've got new bolts for the filter and the pan itself, and then we also get a new fill plug. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna get into some of the tools you're gonna need for this transmission service. You're gonna wanna get one of the 3/8 like torque ratchets for all of the oil pan bolts, which are going to be a T40 socket. You're gonna need a 10mm to break the drain plug loose on the old filter and drain pan. But first things first, you're gonna need an 8mm to break the fill plug loose first, because you wanna make sure your fill plug is loose first, because if you drain your transmission fluid and you can't get your fill plug loose, you're kind of screwed. Next thing you're gonna want is some like multi-use pump or whatever, so you can pump in the new fluid, as well as a drain pan for obviously the old fluid. And then as well, you're gonna wanna make sure you have some sort of E-net cable or some sort of OBD adapter to connect to the car. Therefore, you can look at the transmission temperature, because we have to get the transmission temperature on the first fill up to a certain temperature, and then we can go ahead and do the second fill with the car running and top it off. All right, first things first, we're gonna wanna go ahead and get under here and break our fill plug loose first. It's going to be an 8mm hex socket. If you're not able to fit your ratchet in with the socket, try and find like an Allen key or something instead. That's what I used, because you don't want to strip this out, because if you can't get your fill plug off, you're kind of screwed and refilling your transmission. But then to drain the transmission fluid itself, we're using a 10mm hex.
Yeah, guys, if you guys can see, that's fluid looks very, very dark. That's what 136-ish K mile transmission fluid looks like on an M550. So we're just gonna let this drain for a few minutes, and then we'll come back. Then we'll get the pan off.
Once the transmission fluid has slowed to probably a drip coming out of the pan, we're going to want to take our T40 socket and break all 13 of the bolts loose, holding up the pan itself. And then we can go back with our ratchet or electric ratchet, whichever you prefer, to get all of the bolts out and remove the pan from the transmission. Remember, when you're going to take this pan off, there is still going to be fluid inside of the pan, so be ready for it to spill out potentially. And once we have the pan removed, go ahead, take a clean rag or towel and wipe off the transmission. We have the old transmission pan out over there. We have the new one right here. What I like to do is somewhat start to fill in some of the filter portion with oil, so then it doesn't just immediately dry out when the transmission sucks the oil up through it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now, and then start putting on the new pan. So now that the pan is all prepped and ready to go back up, we're going to go ahead, and I personally recommend you guys take the screws and hand thread them in first, because we're going to have to go ahead and do the BMW specific torquing sequence for the transmission pan itself. And then all these bolts as well are going to get torqued down to 10 Newton meters.
Alrighty guys, here we are. I got the flashlight on. Take a look at the old fluid. Honestly looks very clear for you know, 136,000 like I said. I mean, the pan was not 100% clean either, so there are little like particles, so little bubbles and stuff in it. But otherwise the fluid is even looking in the filter here, you know, the filter looks pretty clean off of what I can tell. It does look like metal in there in the filter, but that's actually it's like a foam or whatever that's used in them. So yeah, basically we're gonna go ahead. I got the new pan already all buttoned up and put on. Now I'm gonna go through the filling procedure with our little syringe tool right here. Now what I like to do is get like a clean container. We're going to fill up the transmission fluid in this, and then we're going to stick the other half of our syringe tool in it, and then we're going to start filling. So now it's time for our first fill with the transmission pan on before we start our car. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and fill the transmission up as much as possible until it starts to overflow. Then we're going to put the fill cap back on, not fully tight, just tight enough to where fluid will not come out. And then we will move on with our procedure to where we have to start the car, get it up to temperature, and then fill it once more with the engine running. All right, so now I've got the first fill done. I have my transmission new fluid. I got more of it filled up, ready to go, because now we're going to do the next step, which is going to be starting the car and then doing the second fill. So now when we do the second fill, we're going to have to start the car, get it up to temperature being roughly 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is roughly 30 or 40 degrees Celsius. I can't remember. I think it's 40 degrees or whatever. And then once the transmission fluid is up to that temperature, we're going to go ahead, crack the fill plug back open, and then we're going to keep filling it up again until it overflows. And then once it is overflowing again, with the engine running, do not turn the engine off when you do the second fill. Then our transmission is topped off and good to go. Alrighty, so now we are going to go ahead. We're going to start the car. We'll let the transmission get up to temperature. Here we go, we're gonna start. Yeah, the valve ain't open, but we're not gonna open it because we wanna make sure this is right. Alrighty, so now we are in the vehicle. We're letting it get up to temperature now. So we're going to want to hold the RPM at roughly 2,000 RPM for roughly 30 seconds so we can get the fluid in the torque converter. So we'll do that now. Next, we're going to firmly put our foot on the brake, and we're going to go through all of the gears. Don't know why specifically the car right here was not letting me go higher than second gear. I repeated the same process on my F33 28i that I have, and it did let me go all the way up to 8th gear. Maybe it's a G30 thing. Maybe I did something wrong when I was doing it. Let me know in the comments if any of you guys know why it wouldn't go higher than second. Alrighty, so looking at Beamer Link right here, we're at 102 degrees Fahrenheit, which is almost 40 degrees Celsius. We want to get to 104, and then we're going to hop back underneath the car. We're going to open up the fill plug. We're going to go ahead, top it off, and then we are done. Alright, so our transmission fluid's up to temp. We're going to go ahead, get this plug off, and then we're going to go ahead and top off the transmission. So like I stated earlier, we are now doing the final fill, where we are going to go ahead, take the fill plug off with the engine running and top off the transmission, fill up the fluid as much as we can until it starts pouring out again, and then we are good to put our fill plug back on, and we're all done with our transmission service.
Alrighty guys, now that I have topped off the transmission, put the fill plug back on, I'm going to go ahead now, check underneath, make sure there's no leaks whatsoever. We did top it off just now, as you guys just saw. So I think it roughly took probably like 5.5, I think, liters is how much I put. So yeah, guys, I just looked, it was basically 5.5 liters. That's just about the amount we took out. That is how you service your transmission fluid for your BMW. Really, any BMW in general, it's the same process, but specifically, that's how you do it for an M550 or really any G30, since they all are set up the same. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this tutorial. Stay tuned for the next one. I know I have not been able to post a whole lot of content. I've been really busy. My summer schedule has been so crammed, guys. I've been doing so many different things between school, work, as well as my little side hustle I got going on. I'm trying to get that bigger. So we'll talk to you guys in the next video. But for now, guys, JB Cars, I'm out, guys. Peace.
She ain't got no soul. She ain't got no